My best friend bid on me at a charity auction to prove nobody wanted me. Then her crush outbid her. So every year our college hosted a charity date auction for the local food bank. People volunteered to be auctioned off, and the highest bidder got a dinner date with them. It was lighthearted. I never volunteered before, but my best friend Kaylee talked me into it during my junior year, said it would be fun and we should both sign up and see who got the higher bid. Kaylee had been my closest friend since freshman year. She was always at the center of everything, knew everyone, and got invited everywhere. She had this way of making you feel lucky she chose you. I did not realize until later that she only kept people around who made her feel like the better option. The night of the auction, I was nervous. Standing on a stage while people decided what I was worth was not comfortable. Kaylee went first, played it up, bidding went to about $45. She came back to our group happy. Then my turn. I walked up, the host read my bio, and the room was quiet. Then Kaylee raised her hand, $5. People laughed because that was the minimum, and her being my best friend made it seem like a joke. Nobody else bid. She looked at me and raised her hand again and said going once, going twice, and laughed. The host waited. Nothing. Kaylee leaned toward our friend Margot and said something I could not hear. Margot looked uncomfortable. I stood there for what felt like a full minute and understood what was happening. She did not bid to support me. She bid the minimum to keep the number low. She wanted me to stand there and watch nobody else raise their hand. Then a guy near the back of the room raised his hand and said $20. I did not know who he was at first. Kaylee's face changed. The host said $20. Do I hear 25? Kaylee raised her hand. 25. The guy said 30. Kaylee said 35. He said 50. Kaylee looked at him and then looked at me and said 55. He said 70. She did not bid again. $70. Almost double what Kaylee got. The room clapped and I walked off the stage. Now that Kaylee was standing with her arms crossed and she did not say a word to me. The guy came over after. His name was Nico, senior, in one of Kaylee's classes. He said what Kaylee did was messed up and he was not going to let her turn it into a joke at my expense. I told him he did not have to do that. He said he wanted to and asked if I still wanted to do the dinner. I said sure. Kaylee did not speak to me for 2 days. When she did, she acted as if nothing happened, said it was just for fun and I was taking it too seriously. I asked why she bid $5. She said it was a joke. I asked what she said to Margot while I was on stage. She told me to stop being paranoid. I asked Margot later. She did not want to say, but I could see it on her face. She said Kaylee leaned over and said, watch this, and then nobody is going to bid on her. That was the plan. Get me on stage and let silence prove Kaylee was the one people wanted. Nico and I went to dinner that weekend. He was kind and funny and we talked for 3 hours. He told me something that made everything click. Kaylee had been trying to get his attention all semester, sat next to him in class, invited him to things, and found reasons to talk to him. He was polite but not interested. He said when he saw what she did to me at the auction, he knew exactly who she was. He bid because it was right, but also because he wanted Kaylee to watch someone choose me over the silence she set up. Kaylee found out about the dinner and called me that night, did not ask how it went, asked if I knew she liked Nico. I said I did not. She said everyone knew, and I went behind her back. I said he bid on me. She said I should have told him no. I said I was not turning down the one person who stood up for me at an event where my best friend tried to humiliate me. She said I was twisting it and that I was ruining our friendship over a guy. I said she ruined it when she used me as a prop. Over the next few weeks, the friend group shifted. Margot pulled away from Kaylee. 2 other friends who were at the auction and saw what happened did the same. Nobody made a big scene about it. They just stopped showing up when Kaylee invited them to places. Kaylee told anyone who would listen that I stole the guy she liked and that I was not the person everyone thought I was. But the people who were there that night saw her bet $5 on her best friend and laugh about it. Nico and I kept seeing each other. Then one day I found her in Nico's classroom and she was looking for him. 3 days after the dinner with Nico, we were walking across campus when I saw Kaylee standing outside the student center with 2 girls from our dorm floor, all 3 staring directly at us. Nico noticed too and casually reached for my hand, his palm warm and steady, and we kept walking while their eyes followed us across the quad. That night I made the mistake of checking social media and found Kaylee had posted a long story about fake friends and betrayal, never naming me but making the details specific enough that everyone in our friend group would know exactly who she meant. I screenshot everything because something in my gut told me I would need proof of how this started. The next afternoon Margot met me for coffee and told me this was not the first time Kaylee had done something like this. She described how freshman year Kaylee befriended a girl named Riley, built her up and made her feel special, then turned cold when Riley started getting attention from a guy Kaylee liked. Kaylee spread rumors that Riley was desperate and clingy, acted confused when Riley tried to talk about it, and by the end of first semester Riley was so miserable she transferred schools. Margot said she watched it happen and never said anything because she was scared Kaylee would do the same thing to her. My second real date with Nico happened that weekend at a restaurant off campus, where he told me about watching his older sister get stuck in a friendship exactly like mine with Kaylee, how it took years for her to recognize the pattern, and when he saw what Kaylee did at the auction, he recognized those same red flags immediately. 2 weeks after the auction, I walked into my communications class and found Kaylee sitting in the seat next to mine, the one she had never sat in before, and she immediately launched into a loud conversation about how some people will do anything for male attention and how real friends do not stab each other in the back. I moved to a different seat and she called across the room asking if I was really that uncomfortable with the truth while the whole class turned to look at me. Later that week, a girl named Sophie from my psychology class approached me in the library and told me she was friends with Kaylee sophomore year until Sophie started talking to a guy Kaylee liked, after which Kaylee got cold and distant, made cruel comments behind her back, and left Sophie feeling crazy for months until she transferred to online classes just to avoid her. My marketing group project fell apart next when my teammates started acting strange, barely making eye contact and not asking asking for my input, until one pulled me aside and said Kaylee had told them I was stealing her class notes, and they should be careful about academic integrity issues. I had to pull out my laptop in the hallway and spend an hour proving my work was original, just to defend myself against lies. When Nico and I made things official, and I posted one photo of us together, Kaylee showed up at the same event and started telling everyone loudly that Nico used to stare at her in class and was always trying to get her attention. Nico looked at her and said firmly that was not true, and asked her to stop spreading lies, and her face went red before she turned and walked away fast. Margot called that night to tell me Kaylee had reached out asking for help, convincing me I was ruining my reputation over a guy, and when Margot said no, Kaylee snapped that Margot was always jealous of their friendship anyway. Things escalated when Kaylee pushed past me into Nico's classroom after a lecture and started yelling that I had been spreading lies about her, that I turned everyone against her, that Nico only asked me out to make her jealous. Students pulled out their phones and started recording, and when Kaylee saw the cameras, her face went red and she grabbed her bag and stormed out. The next morning, Nico showed me his phone filled with 2 weeks of Instagram messages from Kaylee that started friendly and became increasingly unhinged, dozens of them arriving at 2 in the morning, accusing me of manipulating him and insisting they had a special connection I was destroying. We both agreed this was not just drama anymore, but harassment, and that we needed to tell someone official. I gathered with Margot, Sophie, and 2 other students who all had their own stories about Kaylee. Tyler said she targeted him freshman year when he got a leadership position she wanted by spreading rumors he cheated on applications. And Jess said Kaylee befriended her, learned all her secrets, then told everyone when Jess started dating someone Kaylee liked. We spent 2 hours documenting everything with screenshots, witness names, and specific dates, producing a 10-page file that we submitted to student services the next day. A week later, Kaylee's mom called my phone, a number I had never given her, asking if we could work this out privately because going through official channels would ruin Kaylee's record. I told her respectfully that this needed to go through proper channels because Kaylee's behavior affected multiple people. Student services gave us 2 options: mediation with a no-contact agreement and mandatory counseling, or formal disciplinary action through the conduct board that could mean suspension but would take months. After meeting at a coffee shop and talking it through, 3 of us chose mediation and 2 wanted the conduct board, so we went with the majority. In the mediation room, Kaylee read a prepared apology with shaking hands and a flat voice, her eyes never leaving the paper, and when she looked up at the end, her eyes were not sad but angry. We all signed an agreement that she would have no contact with any of us, would not message us or talk about us to other students, and would attend 8 counseling sessions with automatic escalation to the conduct board if she violated any terms. Afterward, Nico and I had our first real fight when he made weekend plans without checking with me, and I snapped at him harder than I should have, but we talked through it for an hour and realized we needed to learn how to be in a relationship that was not built around drama. I saw Kaylee once in the dining hall sitting alone near the windows, and when our eyes met, she gathered her things and left without looking back. I felt relieved, but also something that might have been sadness, because even though I knew our friendship was never real, part of me mourned what I thought it was. I joined an intramural volleyball team, something I had loved in high school but gave up freshman year because Kaylee said it was a waste of time, and the first practice felt amazing. My teammates were fun and knew nothing about the Kaylee situation, and I was just someone who liked volleyball, and that felt freeing. Margot and I set real boundaries for our friendship, agreeing to check in honestly and never let anyone else define our relationship, and she told me she had been going to therapy for people-pleasing. Finals week came and the stress was real but different because I was not worried about running into Kaylee or dealing with her drama, just trying to pass my classes and finish the semester. My grades had recovered, my professors saw my effort, my group members apologized once they realized Kaylee lied, and everything was back on track. Margot, Sophie, and I met for breakfast before our last exam and talked about winter break plans like normal people, and their happiness for me visiting Nico's family was real happiness, not the fake kind Kaylee used to perform. On the last day of finals, I walked across campus in the cold December air and passed Kaylee on the sidewalk walking with someone I did not recognize, both laughing at something on a phone, and she either did not see me or chose not to acknowledge me. I felt nothing, no anger about the auction, no hurt about the betrayal, just empty space where all those feelings used to live. I turned to my exam, texted Nico that I was done, packed my bag for his parents' house, and looked around my dorm room feeling something shift. This was my space now, my life built on real friendships and honest connections, and I was free.